Hi babes, in today's video I'm going to talk about the 3 signs that you've attracted a wound mate and not a soulmate. So number 1 is that he can't meet your core relationship needs. So what are your core relationship needs? What can they look like? Well, oftentimes women, she might have the deep need for physical touch, for holding hands, for cuddling on the couch. And this guy is just like, he's not into physical touch. He kind of wants his personal space. Or I remember I had this situation with a guy, and he was a wound mate. And I remember we were at the grocery store and we were, shopping in the aisle, freezer section, looking for ice cream. And he was just like always walking like 2 feet in front of me. And I was like, this feeling came up inside of me, like, what's going on? Like, why doesn't he want to hold hands? And I felt like there was just always this distance between us. He didn't, when we walked out of the grocery store, there wasn't holding hands. When we were driving in his car, like he would never move his hand to touch me. And it was just like this deep part of me that felt my core relationship needs were not going to get met with him. Number 2 is that he can't meet, this is still looking at, he can't meet your core relationship needs. Another core relationship need can look like your need for quality time. If you feel like he's just never available on the weekends and, consistently, he's just not really making time for the relationship and for you. Now, there's also to take into consideration that, yes, as a relationship progresses, you want to consider that, a man slowly making you a part of his life. But if you're finding that over time, he's just not really able to make quality time for you, this is a sign that you're going towards a wound mate and not a soulmate connection. And next is consistent communication. If you find he never can pick up the phone and have a real conversation with you, it's always like really short texts, and just the communication feels really stunted and it doesn't go deep. That's a sign that you're with a wound mate and not a soulmate. Number 2 is that you idolize him. So if there's this kind of obsession energy, this energy of infatuation and a deep longing that like, oh, this man, like once I get him, like I'll just feel complete. And there's this obsession energy that you just can't stop thinking about him. Like he's all that's on your mind. And a lot of women confuse this energy of idolizing and infatuation with love, when what it's really coming from is her wounded inner little girl that still had that feeling of deep longing for oftentimes the relationship with her father, where he was emotionally unavailable or distant. And so she's kind of reliving this intense longing for love that she experienced with her father in the present with these kind of men that she idolizes. And often these men that you idolize and have this deep longing for, they often are also out of reach. They're out of reach physically, they're out of reach emotionally. And so that just kind of increases that deep desire and longing, that obsession. Number 3 is that your values and long-term goals aren't aligned. So if you are with a wound mate, your values and long-term goals are often not aligned. So what that can look like is, let's say you want children and you want marriage, and he's like, I don't really want marriage. Marriage is not for me. It's this kind of legal agreement that I just don't agree with, right? And you feel like you have to compromise this core need that for you specifically, you want marriage. You want a man who could make this agreement to you, who would give you, propose to you and have the beautiful wedding that you deeply desire. And you feel you have to compromise to have this man. That's likely you are with a wound mate. If you know that deep within your heart, you want children and this is a priority for you, and this man's like, I don't really even like kids. I don't think I'm just cut out to be a father. And you feel that you're trying to convince this man to be a father and to have kids one day. That's likely a partnership that's not truly aligned, that's going to make you feel, 5 years, 10 years down the road when you look back, that you really made a choice that was in alignment with your deepest desires. You were settling. And another sign that values and long-term goals aren't aligned is that you live in, oftentimes I see this in long distance relationships. A woman lives, let's say, in California, and he lives in New York, and her family's in California, and her career's in California. And she's like, oh, but I met this amazing man in New York. And she feels that she has to uproot herself, uproot her career, move away from her family to go be with this man. And she doesn't even like New York. That's the other thing. Like she doesn't like the winters in New York. She doesn't like the summers in New York, but she feels that she's going to make this big sacrifice to be with this man. Now, if you live in a scenario where it would actually be different is that if she lives in California, but deep within her heart, this woman is like, I know I'm meant to be in New York. I've been living in California, but within my soul, when I think about living in New York City, like it just aligns with my career, where I'm meant to be. And there's been this calling within my heart that I need to make to move to New York. And now I've met this amazing man, and we're just aligned on all these different levels. And I feel like this is aligned with where I'm really supposed to be. Then that's a sign that that's probably a soulmate connection, and you should follow that. You should follow that ping from the universe that you actually have a lot of opportunity in New York and you should go there, right? But the Woundmate connection is like, oh, you're making this big sacrifice. It's not really in alignment with your essence. Because here's the thing about love. You don't have to make a sacrifice. You don't have to give up what your core desires are, what your core needs are. That's coming from your wounded inner little girl who thinks she has to make all these sacrifices and can't get what she wants. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I look forward to staying in touch. Drop comments below. My name again is Vanessa Nance, founder of Magnetic Feminine, and if you are interested in finding and keeping epic love and you need the help and the support to get you there, I recommend that you send me a DM, reach out and schedule a free discovery call, and we can see if we are aligned to work together.